The world holds its breath. A sudden flashpoint bait in the South China Sea. Taiwan goes dark. Satellite images reveal Chinese warships surrounding the island. American carriers begin to move. In just 24 hours, the two most powerful militaries on Earth face off in a collision course history has never seen. But here's the question no one dares to answer out loud. If war breaks out between the United States and China, who actually wins? Forget the headlines. Forget the politics. In this video, we simulate the battlefield. Ship versus ship. Jet versus jet. Missile versus missile. You're about to see classified strategies, next-gen weapon systems, and a brutally realistic outcome most people aren't ready to hear. This is not a drill. This is the future we may be heading toward. It begins not with a missile, but with silence. In the early hours of a quiet Monday, Chinese naval groups begin to shift positions. Dozens of destroyers and frigates form a crescent around the Taiwan Strait. The civilian world barely notices, but satellites do. In cyberspace, the first shots are already fired. Massive data spikes from unknown sources crash government servers in Taipei. Traffic lights fail. Air traffic control is disrupted. Chaos with no visible enemy. China issues a warning: foreign aircraft and ships must leave the region. A no-fly zone is declared. Global markets begin to tremble. All eyes turn to Washington. The United States responds. The USS Ronald Reagan Battle Group changes course. Marines are placed on standby in Okinawa. Allied radar stations begin tracking every movement in the South China Sea. The tension is no longer regional, it's global. One miscommunication, one false radar return could unleash something irreversible. At 4:12 a.m., Taipei loses contact with its eastern radar array. A-20 stealth fighters, equipped with electronic jamming pods, disappear from every screen. Moments later, explosions ripple across key air bases. Runways crater, hangars burn, fuel depots erupt. The first wave has struck. But this isn't a one-sided assault. High above the Philippine Sea, US F-35s go dark, radar silent. Launched from the Ronald Reagan, they streak toward Taiwan. Their mission: neutralize incoming waves and protect the island's airspace at any cost. Dogfights erupt 40,000 feet above sea level. Missiles scream across the sky, AIM 120 SF versus PL-15. Pilots whisper targets through encrypted comms. Within minutes, the air becomes a graveyard of falling steel. Taiwanese jets scramble to survive. Japanese F-15s enter southern airspace. China threatens retaliation. The situation spirals. By dawn, 72 aircraft have been lost. And no one controls the skies. The sea goes quiet. But beneath the surface, predators are hunting. Chinese Type 055 destroyers cut through the waves, shielded by electronic countermeasures. American Arleigh Burke-class warships form a wide perimeter, protecting the carrier strike group. Both sides know the first to strike could decide the fate of the Pacific. At 6:41 a.m., the first missiles are launched. J-18s scream toward U.S. ships at subsonic speed before accelerating to Mach 3. Aegis systems lock on countermeasures deploy, but not all threats are stopped. USS Bunker Hill takes a direct hit. Fires erupt, alarms echo through the hull. The US responds instantly. Tomahawk cruise missiles leave the decks of 2 destroyers. They fly low, hugging the sea, invisible to radar. Within minutes, a Chinese frigate is torn apart. Underwater, the game turns deadlier. A US Virginia-class submarine locks onto a Chinese carrier group. 2 torpedoes punch through the escort screen. Chaos erupts, depth charges are dropped, sonar screams. But the American sub vanishes. In orbit, satellites track every flash of light on the water. Thousands of miles away, commanders monitor screens, watching a modern sea war unfold in real time. By nightfall, 5 ships are gone. 3 Chinese, 2 American. And neither side is willing to step back. China has waited, planned, prepared. Now, the invasion begins. Amphibious assault ships, loaded with thousands of troops, surge across the Taiwan Strait. Behind them, swarms of drones scan the coastline for weak points. Ballistic missiles rain down on key military positions. Ports, airfields, bridges, all targeted. Taiwan fights back. Missiles like the Shengfeng 2 slam into landing craft. Apache helicopters hunt armored columns before they hit the shore. Fighter jets streak across the sky, locking onto Chinese transports. But China overwhelms with numbers. Then, the sea turns red. A beachhead is established near Taichung. Chinese Marines pour ashore under artillery cover. Civilians flee, cities go dark, communications are jammed. Urban warfare begins, street by street, floor by floor. But the cost is massive. Supply lines stretch thin. Air superiority is contested. American submarines strike transport ships in the rear. The advance slows, then stalls. China may have landed troops, but holding the island is a different war entirely. This is not a blitzkrieg. It's a brutal grind through mud, fire, and steel. The world watches, frozen.
Madam President.
And then it starts moving. Japan activates its self-defense forces. Missiles are moved to southern islands. Fighters take off from Okinawa. Australia locks into joint command with US Pacific forces. Submarines disappear beneath the waves, heading north. South Korea raises its DEFCON level. India begins reinforcing its disputed border with China. In Europe, NATO calls an emergency session. The alliance doesn't send troops. But eyes turn to Article 5, and to what happens if the war spreads further. Russia watches silently. Officially neutral, but intelligence flights increase near Alaska and Japan. A warning or a signal? Meanwhile, world markets collapse. Oil hits $200 a barrel, global supply chains fall apart. Social media explodes with panic and disinformation. No one knows what's real anymore. The world is no longer on the brink. It's falling in. "17 days. That's how long the battle lasts, before the world forces a ceasefire. The skies over Taiwan are littered with wreckage. Oceans burn where fleets once sailed. And on land, no one truly controls anything. Over 40,000 casualties on all sides. Dozens of ships sunk, hundreds of aircraft destroyed. Global economies in free fall. Infrastructure shattered. China claims partial victory. It landed troops. It challenged the world. But it didn't take the island. The United States held the line. But at a cost not seen since World War II. It proved its reach, but exposed its limits. There is no clear winner. Only consequences. And the next war, if it comes, will be faster, deadlier, and possibly nuclear. This is the cost of escalation. This is the world we may wake up to.